What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from ActiveMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm reviewing All the President's Men, which I've seen before, but it's part of my Redford Retrospective, and it, of course, stars Robert Redford, as well as Dustin Hoffman, Jason Robards, and Hal Holbrook. Robards actually won Best Supporting Actor at the Academy Awards. This was nominated for Best Picture. It did win Best Picture at the Golden Globes, and it's also in our National Film Registry. So this is an iconic film directed by Alan Pakula, and it's produced by Redford also. It's written by William Goldman, who has written like every script that's awesome. Is one of the most prolific writers. And the music is done by David Shire. I noticed that in the opening credits, and I was like, Maltby and Shire? Wait, David Shire just was doing anyway. So if you know Maltby and Shire stuff, I guess David Shire just also did scores. I did not know that, but I do now. I probably should have paid more attention. I know him from other things, but yeah, so this is this should be required viewing nowadays. More people need to watch All the President's Men, and it's such an interesting film to watch in 2025. To watch something and to see a film that starts with these two journalists at the Washington Post, and how, now what the Washington Post is, because it's got bought out, and democracy is definitely dying in darkness at the Washington Post. But the challenge, here we have, journalists who are using freedom of the press to investigate the Watergate scandal. And I don't even know if press, what can they do? We have such a weird level of distrust with press now. We have completely politicized it, to where we don't even know what facts are anymore, because we have alternative facts. It's hard to say. It's if I say the sky is blue, somebody will come along and say, no, it's red. And you're lying. Stop lying, and convince people that the sky is red, actually. And somehow people will just jump on board with that. And it's sad. But watching Woodward and Bernstein, Woodward here is played by Robert Redford. Bernstein's played by Dustin Hoffman. And they start with a little bit of a hint of a story. There's the Watergate break-in. It starts off being sort of like a weird story where it's like, why are these Cuban revolutionaries breaking into the Watergate? And then slowly, little bit by little bit, these little breadcrumbs are kind of left, where they find out a bit of information here, which leads them to that, which leads them to this person. And suddenly they have a name, and suddenly they have a connection. Who's this person connected? Oh, the White House. Okay, well, why is the White House connected? And then it's like continuing to pull at a thread and not realizing that you're unraveling the entire sweater in the process. It's like, this is the thread that keeps the whole sweater together, and they're pulling at it, and eventually the sweater comes apart and you don't have a sweater anymore. Because the end of the movie is Nixon resigning due to the Watergate, in case you've never read a history book. I don't know. Do we have history books? Do we do that anymore? I assume we just don't teach history, because we would like to be doomed to repeat it. So in case you haven't learned anything about Watergate, this would be a great place to start. It's a great movie from start to finish. It's an excellent tale about journalism, featuring really strong performances from everybody. But it's the kind of film, sort of like, just use a more modern version of like the same vibe. Spotlight would be a more modern version of this. that where, yes, everybody has a good performance, but it's not really meant for the actors. It's a really great screenplay, is what it is. It's a screenplay that is very competently directed, that's given to some of the best actors to ever come out of Hollywood, who are putting forth uh, their work, and they're not highlighting themselves, they're highlighting the material, and through the material they're highlighted. So I'm not mad that like Hoffman and Redford didn't like win an Oscars for this, because I don't feel like in their career that this is the film that Redford and Hoffman should have won Academy Awards for. It's not the most dynamic role. Most of the time they are pretty measured. They're just trying to get information, uh, and to build this story, and they're doing it in the most productive way possible. There isn't like some big scene where, we get like nowadays where that, somebody angrily sweeps everything off their desk, I've had enough. you know, that doesn't exist here. It's just um, a much more honest and true case study of this, and the film, I think has gone on to continue to resonate. I say people should watch it, but that's only because I don't think anybody is. However, I think All the President's Men remains the definitive work about Watergate. I don't think anything else has topped it. I don't think, if you were teaching a history class and it was movie day in school, you could show this to your class and learn about Watergate in a interesting and engaging way for your students. It's not really offensive. There isn't, there aren't the sex or tons of profanity or exploding heads. There's no reason why you couldn't put this in a school, um, especially by today's standards. So it's very useful, and I think, considering we've definitely used Watergate and other things before. We had, a couple of limited series fairly recently that tackled Watergate for some reason. We had the one with Woody Harrelson, the White House Plumbers, and we also had the one from Margaret Mitchell's perspective, with Julia Roberts, that was on Stars. Julia Roberts and Sean Penn, I believe, that were in that, Gaslight. So, and those are both fairly recent, but still, even though those were solid limited series that had more time to explore all the ins and outs of Watergate, this is still the best thing. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes, and it comprehensively goes through everything we go through, Deep Throat, and how Deep Throat was feeding information, all the different little interviews that Wilbur and Bernstein had to do to get through this. Um, Robards is playing Ben Bradley, who was running the Washington Post at the time, and getting the stuff out there. If you want to watch like a compendium to this, there's The Post, with Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks, where Tom Hanks is Ben Bradley and Meryl Streep plays Katharine Graham. It's directed by Steven Spielberg, I believe. I'm doing this all off the top of my head. This is called just random movie knowledge. And so that would give slightly even more context on a broader scale to how the Washington Post was owned and operated at the time, if you want, because it's a supporting performance from Robards. Honestly, I had forgotten he won for this until after I watched the movie and I was looking it up. It's not really a performance I would have given Robards the Oscar for, to be honest. I love him as an actor, but he has had better roles. This is not Robards' best role. It's weird how we operate with the Oscars. Sometimes it's just like it's their year. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily, is this the best supporting actor performance of the year? Probably not. Is it Jason Robards' best performance? I would say no. However, does Jason Robards deserve to be an Academy Award winner? Yes. Based on his body of work, I would say definitively yes. So, just a great supporting character actor, who has been like like a multi-tool across all these films. And really all four of these actors, unfortunately Holbrook did not win for Into the Wild, which would have been nice, but and Redford didn't win in an acting category. Such is life. But so not of the four guys here, they don't all win, but it's a very well written, well executed, well acted film that my argument would be, and I've already tackled Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. I may get to this thing, I may not. Having dealt with Robert's filmography, Redford's filmography, like I like combined Redford and Robards into the same. Looking at his filmography, I would say that this is his best film. There's a difference between best and favorite too. Like there are also Redford films that I love to watch that I have seen more than this, but this is the one that I think is technically proficient and one of the best films ever made. So I'm willing to go out on a limb for All the President's Men. I did watch this with audio description. I can't tell you where I watched it. But I've already seen the movie before. This is not my first time watching All the President's Men. I just wanted to brush up on it again, to get through it. And, it still slaps. It still slaps today. I think it's definitely, William Goldman's screenplay here is just like bar none. Just like a fantastic screenplay. So, I'm going really high on this. I'm going to give it a 9.7 out of 10. So I think this film is near perfect, and probably should have won more or been nominated for more Academy Awards than just 4. But that's the we're able to look back on, and we can say that about so many other films, through the Oscars, and we look back on performances and we're like, what were they thinking? Why wasn't this film nominated? It's just some films stand the test of time and other films don't. And I think All the President's Men has absolutely stood the test of time, both in quality and also by being the representation of the Watergate scandal in cinematic history. If you want to learn about it quickly and not read a dozen books or watch like a multi-part limited series, this is pretty comprehensive. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.